topic of today's discussion is careers, win at work, and we have three eminent personalities, all belonging to the HR world with decades of experience behind them, amongst us to share their thoughts on the subject. And now let me introduce them all of you. We have first Dr. Ankita Singh. Dr. Ankita, she is the Senior Vice President and the Global Head of HR at Cygnus Datamatics. She has over 19 years of progressive experience in managing and leading various aspects of human resources, spanning across high-placed business domains of ITES. In addition to all functions of HR, she has also excelled in establishing innovative and competitive initiatives and institutionalizing a strong performance-driven culture at Cygnus, which has resulted in the company being certified as a great place to work. And recently, Ankita, she was also been awarded amongst the Forbes India's top 100 great people manager by GMI India. Welcome, Ankita, on the panel. Next, we have Dr. J.C. Christie. He has a total experience of nearly 3 decades in this industry with a strong in-depth functional expertise across all the facets of human resource arena. He has got a diverse variety of exposure of working across education, IT services, IT product development, ITES, HR consulting sectors, and currently he's working with the international recruitment consultancy firm Convet as Vice President HR and Operations. Dr. Jesse, welcome on board.
Thank you.
And next, and not the least, is Frederick Correa. He is also an HR leader, keynote speaker, and a doctoral scholar. Currently, he's associated with broking and investment banking firm Darashaw and has a proven track record of creating and implementing HR strategies that successfully drive business initiatives related to profitability, talent development, and effective change management. He's also adroit in assessing existing processes and accordingly designing and implementing measures aimed at enhancing process efficiency, organizational effectiveness, and employee potential and morale. Welcome, Frederick, on the panel as well.
Hi, thank you so much.
Great. Now that the introduction being done, I will jump over straight to, let me throw open the session to questions. And I'll have the first question directed towards Dr. Singh. What, according to you, it could be the impact on careers in this pandemic situation?
How I come in, I think impact is already seen and it's humongous. So if you talk about the coronavirus outbreak, I think it has taken unexpected hit to many industries around the world. Some saw sales go up, wherein other industries, they experienced a huge slump. Many non-essential businesses were forced to close. I mean, just a couple of scenarios for us to understand the situation or the impact on career. So a lady who is 49 years old is worried as her son is set to join college next year and her company has slashed her salary by, say, 40%. An intern who's worried about his job application as the recruiters continue telling that we don't have a clarity yet. We don't know by when we start hiring. Forget about organizations reimbursing expenses. I think employees are proactively identifying and investing in themselves because they are all worried, scared, and they just want to be as much prepared as they can be for the future or even for the present. There are cases where there's no pay cut and people are actually part of double income families. Even they are making adjustments in their lifestyle and are spending more cautiously. And an employee who has been released from a company is requesting for an extended LOP as he's not able to get a job anywhere else because of this COVID. So these are a couple of scenarios where we understand, the kind of impact. It's like people who are trying to get into an industry or people who already exist. I mean, everybody got impacted, and it's huge. It is so much evident. If at all, I refer to the recent study that was conducted by ILE. Even now, which was very recently done, even now it says that 21% of people around us, they fear losing their job due to this crisis. 14% are still concerned about losing their jobs in near future, even after the COVID is over, because they know that impact is going to be much longer than what we foresee. 26% expect to miss out on their promotions and increment just because of the COVID crisis. So when we overall talk about this, I think the way we used to work, connect, communicate, collaborate, everything has changed. Probably we have witnessed the biggest shift of the era or decade. So yes, I mean, impact is humongous. It cannot be ignored. It cannot be unseen. It's right there, and I think people are coming back to a little normal, just to adjust in the new normal. More of it is by self-adjustment. We are just trying to fit in. Now, the second part of the question, you know, how well or what will be the scenario where we will be able to survive, or how we will be able to take care of this impact, if at all, anybody who is trying to. So when we talk about careers, I think individuals have to have a defined vision or a path. They have to understand that COVID, obviously, it has distracted, it has disrupted everything, and the impact is there, but probably it is short term, long term, nobody knows. And people have to just set in. They just have to fit in so that they tune in and sail through the current scenario, and with a probably a clearer vision and a purpose that should not be compromised. But if at all, just to answer the impact, I think it's unmeasurable. All the pockets have got impacted in some or the other way, and people are still trying to redefine and recover from the scenario.
Do you think it's the worst year to enter into the job market?
I don't think so. We can't generalize, because, as I said, there are few organizations where things have gone up. You have definitely seen a downfall. People have to be little more logical, and as I say, they have to be more relevant in their choices. So I would not say we can generalize the entire impact. You can't say this is the wrong time, because there will be never a right time for
Correct.
any investment, even if it's your career or job investment. So you just have to understand the scenario, you have to understand the situation better, and whatever best option is available, you have to transform yourself, you have to invest really well in yourself, and you have to make that shift very swiftly within the
Okay.
time period that is probably defined by the undefined scenario like COVID.
Correct. But there's also, I mean, do you think that careers are a marathon and it's not a sprint? I mean, COVID at the end of the day, I mean, it will finally be what everybody say, it will be a part of our lives. It isn't here to stay forever, but careers are. Do you agree with that view?
Yeah, I think fact is, no matter how good or bad a situation is, it won't stay forever. So, as I said, our role is to probably fit and tune in and sail through. What I mean by that is, when you talk about a marathon, there will be phases where you have to go slow, because the patches are such. But probably you put in more energy to ensure that you don't spend too much time, or you don't waste too much time, or you have to put in a little extra to cover that patch, and that's where you have to be ready probably to take care of that situation or scenario. But obviously, when we talk about career, it is more prolonged, it is more defined. The length, at least we know, even if we are somewhere in the middle, we know how much is left. If we are starting, we know how much we have to walk through. So when we talk about COVID, definitely it is a much shorter phase, and individual has to keep in mind the longer phase, or the long term goal. But at the same time, you have to take care of the current situation, which can be as short as 2 months or as long as an year. And right through, I would say, I mean, no matter if it's a sprint or a marathon, you have to probably base your approaches on those three things, wherein you keep learning from past, you give best to your present because you know what the current situation is or current scenario is. But at the same time, when you're talking about a sprint or a marathon, you have to understand or explore the future as well and prepare really well. So whatever, probably as we know, when we talk about directionless or very vague future or a road ahead, but whatever little can be seen, you just have to prepare yourself and be ready to meet those challenges or cover the path.
Correct. I think that right now, I mean, the best method would be to obviously prepare yourself for the best and sort of lie low. Uh, Thank you so much, Dr. Singh. I mean, very relevant points made. I'll move over to Dr. Jesse now. Do you think that one can secure his dream job in this current turbulent environment, and really how to identify the right company to work with? Because there are so many, ifs and buts.
Yeah, thanks, Avik, for the very relevant question. In the normal scenario, a student will depend upon mainly the placement department of a college to secure the job. However, in the current scenario, I would like to encourage the students to carry out the following steps if they want to secure their dream jobs. Okay, so I just want to list down a few steps. Step number one, map the industries and companies. Do a thorough study about the industry sectors relevant for your field. It could be manufacturing, software, automobile, retail, construction industry, etc. From that list, identify 1 to 2 sectors where you would like to have a long-term career. In these 1 to 2 sectors, identify 5 to 10 companies which you would like to target. Right? Then step number 2, have a folder for each company and capture all the details possible, more at a global level and at a country level. Right? Check if you know any friends or relatives or alumni working in these companies. Step number 3, start interacting with these identified companies. Build contacts with people from these companies by connecting with them through LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. Approach them for various activities, including short-term projects, weekend, part-time, online jobs. There are plenty of such opportunities available right now. Step number 4, study the recruitment process of these companies very clearly. How do they recruit fresh graduates or engineers or MBA graduates? Do they recruit through campus or off-campus recruitments? Study what kind of jobs are available at the entry level. For example, sales officer, software engineer, finance executive, etc. What's the selection process? Is it a written test followed by GD followed by interview, or written test followed by interviews, or multiple rounds of interviews? Why it is important to know? Traditionally, what happens in the college, you will be informed by your placement department that next week so and so company is coming for campus recruitments. Sometimes you will be communicated about this selection process a few days before they come, or just simply 1 or 2 days before their arrival. It is too late to prepare to crack the selection process. If you are good in technical or functional knowledge, you may clear the written test. But if you are not good in communication skills, and if they have a group discussion round, you will not clear that possibly. Then you are again frustrated. Instead, if you know it before 6 months or 1 year in advance, you have sufficient time to improve on areas where you are not good at. Okay. Step number 5, prepare and practice. Whichever area you feel you are weak, whether to clear the written test or the GD or the face-to-face interview, you need to prepare and practice thoroughly so that you clear each round of the selection process. So just to summarize, step 1, map the industries and companies which you want to target. Step 2, capture a lot of information about these companies at a global level and at India specific level. Step 3, interact with the identified companies, build contacts. Step number 4, study the recruitment process. Step number 5, prepare and practice. Right? I think in my view, if a student can follow these steps, I am sure the person can definitely reach the dream job. Again, the question is, dream job doesn't mean from day one I should be working in that company. I can always reach there 2 years later. But the key thing is, am I putting the right approach to reach there? Okay. Now to address your second question very quickly, how to identify the right company to work?
Correct.
In my view, a person should focus on the following attributes of an organization. Is it a great place to learn and grow? What's the duration of training program? What's the training content? Do they have a well-defined career path for the employees? Do they have a good working culture? Do they provide good work-life balance? Do they have an inclusive culture? Do they have a performance-oriented culture? Do the employees feel proud to work in the organization? Do they take good care of their employees? Do they treat people with respect? In great places to work or any other industry survey, how does this company perform? Do existing employees speak good about the organization? Do ex-employees speak good about the organization? If you have noticed, I did not mention anything about the salary. Does it mean that salary is not important? It is. But in a career span of 25 to 30 years, everyone who is listening to me today, I am sure, please note that you will make money. It need not be in your first job. Money will come over a period of time. Join a good organization, learn and improve your skills continuously, ask for more responsibilities, then money will follow you. Over to the moderator.
Thank you. Great set of points. I hope that the audience really took down copious notes about what Dr. Christine said. Very, very relevant points. Thank you so much. I'll have a set of questions, but I'll first move over to Frederick now. Well, Dr. Jesse and Dr. Ankita have shared about how to have a successful career. Frederick, you have done a lot of research on the determinants of employer satisfaction, and in your upcoming book, you talk about enhancing your employability with Ikigai. Now, I want you to if you can share some insights on how you can win in the life race as well.
Well, absolutely. The pointers made by Dr. Jesse are so apt, and that's how you should go about while you're looking for the right job. But before you do that, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to talk about two major facets of employer satisfaction and what recruiters look for. So I went out to about 600 recruiters who go to campuses and of course hire talent across the country, and I did try and understand what are the determinants which determine employer satisfaction, because employer satisfaction as a construct is very close to the close or bears a very strong correlation with employability. Of course, there are various other factors, and what it appeared to be that there are two major factors. One is the self-directedness of the candidate, and the other are the distal factors or the contextual influences which impact employability, like the college where you went to, the organization where you work, the kind of culture which you're brought up with, your kind of friends you've grown up with. So a lot of things impact the way you think. Now, while you cannot change these contextual influences, what you do have in control is your self-directedness. And there's where the start to the entire journey, which Dr. Jesse spoke about, comes from. You need to have career clarity. And career clarity is something which a lot of recruiters look for one simple reason. If you know what you want to do in life, if you know how our organization is going to help you get there, then I'd like to work with you. Because if many people want to go with the flow, they have this Niagara complex. What's the Niagara complex? We'll just go with the flow. Wherever life takes us, we'll go there. Only after a point in time they realize, when they're going and the current slowly becomes stronger, they enjoy and they leave paddling their boat, and they reach a stage where they hear the rumbling sound of the waterfall. They have not paddled enough, the currents are so strong, and they're heading for a crash. So now that I've shared a little bit about that, I'd like to focus on how important it's to have a fulfilling career and the importance of Ikigai. So what is Ikigai? Ikigai is a very simple concept. Of course, this also has come from the Okinawa Islands and a lot of research. But in simple language, Ikigai is nothing but the overlap of four things. One, what you like, what you're passionate about. Just being passionate about something is not going to help you feel fulfilled. What are you good at also? The third aspect is, what does the world need? And most importantly, what the world is ready to pay for. The overlap of this entire four circles is what constitutes your Ikigai. And out of 24 hours, let's presume you're sleeping for 7 to 8 hours. 12 out of these 16 hours, 75% of your life, if you're going to spend in that sweet spot, Work-life balance is not something you're going to worry about because your work and life is going to integrate. And if you understand and identify and find the right cause, if you find the right job for you, you will land up having satisfaction. You will have all your cups full, and that is when life, where success in your life will correspond to happiness as well. You know, you'll see a lot of people who are very successful in their career but are unhappy, and long term what happens is their performance dips. So you got to have all your cups full, right? So it is very important. One, so when a lot of B school students, they come to B school with a thought process of employment. You know, today with careers, there's been a major shift because the notion of lifetime employment has shifted to lifetime employability for one simple reason: social sciences and the way society evolves. Our forefathers had one need, which was your security need, and they would join an organization and grow with an organization. With the way our society has developed and our generation and the millennials, they have the comfort because of the wealth, because of the wealth generation, the opportunity to choose what kind of career they want. They know they have that kind of security. So in that case, when career stints have reduced from 15 and 20 years in an organization to 3 and 4 years, the whole onus of career management no more remains with the HR department themselves, but shifts on to the individuals themselves, right? So once you identify what's the end in mind, you rightly said career is a marathon, and the difference between a marathon and a sprint is, in a marathon you need to have a strategy, in a sprint you just need to go all guns out blowing, right? So if you have that strategy, your end in mind, you then backtrack and you make milestones. Once you make these milestones, you build achievable targets, and you got to review those targets, right? And the worst thing you can do is not reflect on what you're doing, because people do all of this correctly and they have their goals set in life, they have their priorities set in life, but the biggest mistake is they don't spend enough time reflecting whether what I am doing today is taking me towards my goal or not. Because the most important tool one has is the ability to reflect. Because Einstein said it is insanity to do the same thing again and again and expect a different outcome. So if you are not moving towards your goal, you got to reflect and understand what you need to change in your strategy. And of course, once you have these things in place, of course the pointers shared by Dr. Jesse are very apt. You can follow this strategy, but you got to have the end in mind, right? It's like getting to and if you're looking at people in higher education institutes like an MBA program or an engineering program, understand that that happens to be the railway platform. Your job happens to be the train, and your destination happens to be the city you need to get to. And if you don't know which city to get to, you may land up staying in the platform, or you may land up running after a train where you see a lot of people going, presuming that that may be the right train to go on to. Get onto that, and only after some time realize that you're going farther from your goals just because you followed everyone else. So career clarity, coming back to that point of concern, career clarity and self-directedness of the individual is absolutely paramount. That is something you have in your hand and in control, and you can build it. You can increase your circle of influence. Instead of focusing on just your circle of concern, build partnerships and expand your level of influence. And that's how you're going to grow, right?
I really couldn't agree more. But tell me something, Frederick. How do you get that clarity? How do people who are probably just about to enter the job market at the age of maybe 23, 24, 25, how do they slowly build that sort of capability to have that clarity in their mind, that what is the target that they want to have?
I think it's a continuous process. So if you ask yourself this question, where do you see yourself retiring out of? Where would you see yourself at the age of 60? In order to get there, what you should be doing at the age of 55? In order to get there, what you should be doing at the age of 50? Now, you'd be surprised. For example, my long-term thought process is I want to get into academics. I want to become a director at a B school. And I'm looking at that, between 50 and 60, because that's when I'm wanting to move out of corporate. But if I were to go and do that at the age of 50, do you think at the age of 45, 43, 44, I should start doing my PhD then? I'd probably be heading the function somewhere. And the kind of workload I have won't allow me to do that, which is why I'd rather do that earlier and maybe at the age of 30 or 28, 29, while the workload is less, I start preparing, right? So one who prepares ultimately wins. So you got to have that foresight, and you got to break it down into measurable milestones. Now, I'm not saying that, you think about getting to Calcutta and get onto a train which is going directly to Calcutta. Maybe that's not possible, and it's idealistic. There may be some trains which are absolutely full. There may be some waitlisted. There may be some reservations against cancellation. You just get on the train which is going in the right direction, right? And then you got to make shifts, because you aren't like Dr. Jesse said, you may have this goal that to get your dream job, this is what you need to do. Your first job is never going to be your dream job. You got to be ready to get down on your knees and uproot the weed from the roots, and not just cut them out. So you got to put in the hard work, and you got to start, and understand you will never get 100% of what you want. You may get 60, 70%, right? The rest you got to develop, and slowly but surely, and that is what is your evolution, and that is employability. You got to start moving your focus from employment to employability. Employment is incidental; it will happen one day, right? Employability is your strategy to get a job, to be successful at that job, to grow a job, and to grow at that job, and when required, to have the ability to switch the job. If your focus is on this and you develop this strategy, you will be successful, you will be happy, and not only will you have a successful career, but you will have a fulfilling one as well.
And probably to have those skills that will make you stay relevant as you grow old.
You need to do a skill audit. So in order to do this, what is the skill set do I need? Do I need? What is it that I have? Now, how do I make this gap? Now, that is what is your career journey. Now, in order to get that, these are the skill sets I need to have. Now, let me start developing these skill sets, right? Then you keep reassessing. Okay, 6 months have passed. What have I done? Have I developed this skill set or not? Right? Now, you cannot only depend on the HR team or the HR personnel to plan your career, because understand, let's be very open, while they would be interested in doing that, their primary interest is doing that, keeping in mind the organization's long-term position and where you fit in the organization. Right? So why are you putting your career in someone else's hand? Yes, partner with them, but also plan it yourself. Don't depend completely on just the HR team. Like I said, with the gig economy coming in, people, this whole dynamic is going to shift, because people are going to be just going and doing a few gigs here and there, working for shorter periods of time. And do you think an organization is going to invest too much in talent management or career management of those folks who are going to be there just for a short amount of time? No. So you got to do it yourself, and you got to be the master of your own destiny.
Correct. Great. Dr. Christine, you want to add something here? Dr. Jesse, can you hear me? Oh, there seems to be some problem with this video.
Yes. Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Yes. Your video was just blurring out a bit.
Sure. Okay, so do I switch off my webcam? Would that be useful?
No, it's fine now.
No,
it's
you're
fine
good.
now. You're good now.
Okay, sure, fine. Okay, so I would like to introduce a concept called Qualavery. Okay, it is not from the song of actor Dhanush. The word "very" in Tamil language means desire. Qualavery means it's actually fire and passion. Okay, you need to identify your Qualavery. Qualavery means something which is very, very close to your heart. How do I identify my Qualavery? I just want to narrate an example. I'll share my own example so that it becomes easy for you to understand. Way back in 91-92, I was a lecturer cum placement officer in Karunya Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. Now it is Karunya Deemed University. After the class hours, I used to spend time with third year and fourth year engineering students, sharing my experiences in searching for a job, how to prepare for interviews, what to study, how to study, etc. As a placement officer, in addition to carrying out the regular campus recruitment activities, I was more involved in arranging weekend jobs for poor and deserving students in Coimbatore city, managed to place a few students in small companies. They were paid around rupees 50 per day those days, right? Rupees 50 into 2 days.
Okay, there again seems to be some problem. Dr. Jesse, can you hear us?
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
audible, but you're breaking up.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it looks better now. Yeah,
Is it audible now?
it is audible.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Fine. So while I was doing all these activities, personally, I was in my comfort zone. I had a tremendous level of satisfaction. It was easy and natural for me as a personality. I was enjoying what I was doing. These are symptoms to identify if you are operating in your Kollaveri zone or not. You can start loving your job, and that can also become your Kollaveri. Is there any other way to identify? Yes, you can convert your hobby as your job and make it as your Kollaveri. Hence, the best thing is to try and convert your hobby as your job. Then you don't need to work for the rest of your life. The best example is A.R. Rahman. Has anyone heard of A.R. Rahman making a 1 hour motivational speech? No. Why? Because his Kollaveri is in composing music. Morning till night, he is thinking of only music. That is why he has won so many Oscar awards. So it's a mindset issue. Personally, I was addicted to the function of recruitment for a very long period of time. You know how it helped me? My Kollaveri took me to the position of head of recruitment for the entire Asia Pacific region for Philips Electronics. I was based in Hong Kong for 3 years, managing the recruitment function of 14 countries across the region. The first Indian to do so in the history of Philips, the company which is more than 100 years old. Later, I expanded my Kollaveri to the overall HR function. I was actively involved in retaining employees at the grassroots level, at the associate level, while I was the Vice President HR for India operations at Hinduja Global Solutions from 2008 till 2012, managing 14,000 employees across 10 locations in the country. This prompted me to study further, and I completed my PhD in HR in 2017 with my final thesis on employee retention itself. If you are still not able to identify your Kollaveri, here is the good news. Once you join a corporate, you can develop your Kollaveri, which is a fire and passion, in the following fields: be it sales, marketing, advertising, finance, HR, operations, purchase, software development, testing, research, etc., etc. The key thing is you need to like your job, love your job, and get addicted to your job. Then you are operating in your Kollaveri zone, which is the fire and passion. Please identify your Kollaveri as early as possible in your life. Then you don't need to work for the rest of your life. You get paid for your Kollaveri, which is your fire and passion. Let me end here by asking this question: what is your today? Over to Mr. Avi.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, Kollaveri, the fire and passion. I mean, to be very honest, I always thought that I always knew the meaning of Kollaveri as something else. Either it was more of anger or something, but this is a completely new meaning that I got. I mean, I was completely wrong actually. Anyways, moving over to Dr. Singh. What do you think? With the onset of the gig economy, what do you think will be the impact on career planning and from the students' perspective as well as from the company's talent management?
What will be, I think it is already there. So gig economy, when we talk about, has become mainstream much sooner than we actually expected. It got a thrust with the introduction of internet-based aggregator services like Uber, Zomato, Ola initially. And for a recognizable reason, the crisis has probably intensified the exposure and acceptance. So if we talk about organizations, or for that matter, candidate or students, I think everybody is focusing on those immediate wins to recover and thrive in a given crisis. So when we talk about companies or individuals, I think everybody has strategically started evaluating the benefits of an alternative or shared or gig employment workforce model. I was just recently going through, this report of Aon, where which was labeled as decoding the gig economy, and where they presented the sector-wise segregation. And I would not say I was surprised, but the shift is so powerful when they were talking about FMCG or pharma, wherein the current percentage is somewhere close to 15, and they say in next 2 to 5 years it would be as high as 69% with respect to gig workers. If you talk about BFSI, then current is 32, which will go up to 56%. Technology, BPO services, obviously there is a shift from 57 to 60 or 47 to 76, but there are sectors where probably the jump or the hike is going to be humongous. So we all know, and I think as initially we were discussing just before the call, that it's not about working from a place, it's more about working from anywhere. And organizations as well as individuals, they are all getting prepared to get into that model. There is already a visible shift from the conventional 9 to 5 job to the suit your schedule model. The future is about relevance, as in who can do what, not about where we work from or who else we work for. So we've been talking about, we know that we have policies that if you're working at one place, you cannot work for some other company. And those things are disappearing from the chart, and probably it will further go down to 60 or 70%, because now people have started exploring shared resource options as well. So in literal terms, it will be boundaryless organizations and boundaryless employment. Strategies now or later will be formalized, molded, bent, and adjusted to define the guidelines to protect the new boundaryless workplace and workforce in the most anticipated shift, the gig shift. And when we talk about organizations, I think they are already set. Look at the number of benefits, look at the flexibility it gets in along. With respect to individuals, working from anywhere, working as per your interest, taking that break whenever required, so you can actually bounce back with more zeal, with more aptness, with more relevant knowledge and skill set. All these things are practically possible that we just thought of. People wanted to have a more meaningful, purposeful, defined, with direction. You have your career path defined. I think gig economy gives all that needed flexibility as well as the direction. And be it organizations, be it talent management group or individuals, I think everybody is going to explore that exponentially. I'm wrong in using the term will be. I think people are already using that. I think if I talk about my organization, we have already shifted to 30%, which is a huge jump in last 8 to 9 months, which we never thought, which probably was somewhere planned, but we thought it'll take another 4 to 5 months. But because of this crisis, COVID crisis, and at the same time, the acceptability and adaptability of individuals as well as the organization, I think we are all in that shift where we know that the new economy is going to be gig economy. So students or the working professionals, I think we all have to be ready to be the best versions of ourselves, wherein we know that if this is the right job for me, I am the right fit for that. And it's about those small projects or long-term projects. I mean, there's no definition as such. As I said, it's just going to be more about relevance, who can do what, and who probably can be the best fit.
What is the reason why sectors like FMCG was saying would see a huge shift towards gig economy compared to other sectors where it's pretty much already prevalent?
The main reason is for other sectors phase was already explored, Avik. So we were already doing it. I think when you talk about IT technology, BPO, we always had few people working as giggers. So in different formats, different phases, but they already existed. FMCG, where we always had this misconception that you have to be there. There were security reasons, there were automation reasons, there were so many things lined up where we never thought that this will be the right thing to explore. But I think this is the phase, this is the crisis where with respect to employment, unemployment, the options you get with respect to the resources available in the free market, people have started exploring that much. And in these 5, 6, 7 months, you have seen that jump. You have seen that consistent jump of 15% of FMCG already moving to 2025. And that's the reason, as close as 2 to 5 years, they have projected something which is very close to 70%, which is 69%, as the Aeon report says. So they have started exploring, and as I said, the acceptability or the experimentation has become more normal than the conventional approach which we always had till date.
Okay, okay. Dr. Jesse, also keen to get your views on this. What are your views on employee retention, and what are the factors that determine one spends, his or her time at a company?
Yeah, I think in my view, employee retention starts right from the time a prospective post candidate applies for the job, not after the employee submits a resignation. Unfortunately, many organizations, even today, they think employee retention starts working as a concept moment a person resigns. They think that is the time to start to retain, right? So retention is an ongoing activity. Secondly, why do people stay in an organization? In my PhD thesis, I have used Herzberg's two-factor theory. Through my research, I have found that motivation factors and hygiene factors, as proposed by Herzberg, positively influence employee retention. So I would like to call these factors as pull factors. Okay. So why do people stay in an organization? There are 6 motivation factors and 10 hygiene factors. So totally there are 16 pull factors. The motivation factors are recognition, advancement, responsibility, achievement, personal growth, job content, or the work itself. These are the 6 motivation factors. Hygiene factors, the company policy and administration, the technical supervision, interpersonal relations with subordinates, the salary which is paid to an employee, job security, work-life balance, working conditions, the status in the organization, interpersonal relations with the supervisors, and interpersonal relations with peer group. If an organization can proactively focus on strengthening these 6 motivation factors and the 10 hygiene factors, trust me, to a large extent, they'll be able to retain their employees comfortably.
Okay, okay. Moving over to Frederick now, what do you think are the factors that should be considered while planning the job shift or career transition? I mean, we heard from Dr. Jesse from the employee's perspective. What from the employer's perspective? What about from the employee's side?
See, bang on. See, truth be told, what I'm going to preach is an age-old formula. You don't leave an organization, and if you do leave, there should be only 2 reasons. One is the culture, for whatever reason, doesn't agree with you, right? And 2 is you believe the learning stops. These are the only 2 reasons why you should leave an organization, right? Now, unfortunately, what people don't understand is they leave a job because they find something better. And I think it's a very well accepted reason. You ask someone, oh, why did you leave that job? I found something better. It's like and people accept that answer. But if I'm just going to take an example, and just to humor all of y'all, I'm going to make it a little funny. It's like asking someone, why did you get divorced? Oh, because I met this girl who was very pretty, right? You don't get divorced because you met someone better. You get divorced because your marriage isn't working first. So you got to understand that the decision to leave your job and the decision to join another company are 2 separate decisions. If you decide to join another company, that is one decision. Why are you leaving your job today is another decision. You have to take them separately. If you reach a stage where you realize that, you know what, and you know, people may leave initially, you know, culture, you don't fit, and there are different types of cultures. One is the type of work culture, the other is the location fitment. You know, you're North Indian, you put in South India, maybe it's a great company, but the location doesn't fit with you. So there are different types of job fit. Then there's the role fitment. You thought it was something else, and you joined, and the job expected you to do something else. And of course there's that cultural fitment. But once you get these three and you settle in an organization, the only reason to shift should be because you believe the learning has stopped. Now there's another concept I'm going to introduce, which is the concept of learning cycles. In everyone's career, there are 5 to 6 learning cycles, and learning cycles generally are between 3 to 5 years. And each learning cycle begins when you step up, or when you get a major project which you start from phase 1 to the end and complete completely. You know, don't leave in between. For example, if there were two people, candidate A, candidate B, both started a job at Link Pens, and Link was working on a process which was a 5-year process, and it has 5 phases, 1 year each phase. Candidate 1 starts from phase 1 and completes phase 5 in Link, while the other candidate does phase 1 and phase 2 in Link. He joins Cello and does phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. Now presume that all of these things is oversimplistic explanation. The learning which the gentleman who remained at Link has is exponential, because in the 3rd phase and 4th phase he's able to learn from what mistakes he made in the 1st phase. Unfortunately, when he shifted to this next company, he didn't do anything in phase 1 and phase 2, so he's not learning anything over there. He may learn phase 3, 4, and 5, so his learning is linear, right? So there are very few such learning cycles in one's career. There would be 4 to 5, maybe 6, 7 if you're lucky. You need to ensure that you get hold to that learning cycle and stick through that learning cycle, and never leave a job in between that learning cycle. And if you're going to go to your next job, see what kind of learning cycle are you going to get. Are you just fitting in? Are you just filling in? Are you coming in between? Because that's not going to help, because sooner or later compensation catches up, and compensation shouldn't be the reason for you to switch. And if you go back and you pull out any organization, and it's not just mine, you pull out any organization and you see the people on top are generally those people who have grown with the organization, because their learning is exponential. They are not exceptional people. Their learning and experience is exceptional, right? They have taken the right career decisions. Most of the times when people switch jobs, they see, what am I not getting in my current company which I'm getting in the next company? They shift over there, and then they start looking what I'm not getting here which I was getting before, and they're unhappy here also, and then they search for a third job. So these guys keep hop, skipping, and jumping, and after a period of time they would have completed 5, 6, 7 years without actually growing, without actually participating in those learning cycles. And then you'll see these people tend to stagnate, or they level off.
I think at least just to share one. No, sorry, please. You were about to.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, you know, what you made that reference of, you know, executives who have risen right at the top of the companies. I think, of course, they've had a fair share, like, of their time spent in that organization, or maybe, you know, a significant part of their career has been spent at least in one organization, at least, you know, 10 to 12 years, where they grew with one organization, learned the, you know, the tricks and trades of the business, and then probably thought over or got a better offer from another organization to move on.
So Avik, I'm going to let in a small secret, and I talk about this I talk about it very briefly in my book, where you need to aim to be successful in the second half of your career. You see, when you're running in a marathon, you don't look about getting the lead in the first 2-3 rounds. You wait. You let the inexperienced people run and move fast. Then they lose their energy and they fall off themselves. And towards the end, you see, in the last 2 laps, you take over. So in your career also, try to be successful in the later half of your career. Many people, they want everything fast, and you know, of course, with millennials, there is this thought process where everyone's running the race and they're wanting to run up this corporate ladder, only to realize that this ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. So in short, in the beginning of your career, you're going to be successful because you have good career, you will have a good mentor, or you'll have a good boss, and that's where the role of a boss becomes very important. You know, Molly talks about this in his book as well. The role a good mentor or a good boss can play, it's like a catalyst, because they help you build your foundations. And once you have your foundation strong, and when you get to those leadership levels, if you have that foundation strong, your career, you're going to leap and grow multifold. So there are people who, you know, grow very fast in the first 5, 6, 7 years of their career, and then they level off in terms of compensation, in terms of growth, because their salaries have grown, their skills haven't. So they reach a stage where they are overpaid for what they know, right? This is known as Peter's principle, where you raise to the highest level of inefficiency.
Okay.
Right? Focus on developing your skill. And what I said, focus on employability. If you have that in case, I'm telling you, salary will not only catch up, you will not only grow, you will grow multifold, right? So plan your career that way, plan your switch. If you want to shift, ask yourself, why am I shifting? First, let's understand, why am I not happy? Why am I not happy with my job currently? Like I said, you don't get a divorce and just because you meet someone good, right? You got to first understand, why am I unhappy? You got to try to figure things out. You cannot give up, because people who give up generally on some aspects tend to give up on a lot more, and then you become compromising. It's your career, it's your life. Don't make compromises, make decisions, and make career choices. You know, now you cannot control the outcomes of those decisions, but you can surely control those decisions and the thought process which goes behind taking those decisions. So focus on that. Have that complete clarity, like I said, and I'm going back to the first point I made, career clarity and self-directedness of the individual. As long as that's in place, like Ankita said, if you have a goal in mind, like Dr. Jesse said, if you do your homework and you prepare, you will win. So you need to prepare to be successful. You know, people say, you know, positive thinking, and I because of the secret law, people start saying, positive thinking, you be positive, you'll get everything. Well, I'm going to give you an example. Mike Tyson didn't become world champion by thinking he will be the champion, sitting in his living room, having beer or drinking beer and having popcorn. Just by saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, it's not going to work. He was out there, he was in the gym, pushing himself. And you got to do that. You got to struggle just by hoping that you'll be successful. And God is kind. And if you start blaming the whole world that, oh, he was lucky, oh, nepotism, oh, this, oh, that, boss, focus on yourself. Don't look at what the I'm going to steal one from Kennedy and say, don't look at what the organization can give you. Ask what you can give your organization.
Correct,
right?
correct,
Build that
correct.
value. Make the organization value you. Right? And if you focus on your employability, you will know when to make those career shifts. You will know that in order now I know that this job till here has given me what I have to. Now, in order to get there, I need to develop this. And in order to develop this, I need to shift my job. There has to be a reason. There has to be a plan.
Great.
Right?
Great.
Just shifting because you're getting 50,000 more, a couple of lakhs more, or a fancy designation doesn't work. Identify your career anchors. Do a battery of psychometric tests. Understand who you are. Don't wait for the company to understand you. You understand who you are. And then find out which is the environment in which you can thrive in. What is the kind of work which you will excel in, and start finding that overlap and move in that direction. I hope I've been able to capture exactly what needs to be done, but
Correct.
giving a panoptic view and not a step-by-step approach, because it's impossible to do a step-by-step approach. It is your life and your career. You got to find your way yourself.
Correct. I'll move over to Ankita. I mean, the last question before, just to get your views on this before we open it up for the audience. I mean, the questions have already flown in, but Ankita, can you share your thoughts as well on this?
I think I would agree with what Frederick and Jesse just mentioned. I think prioritizing your needs and requirements is really important. 100% perfect job option will never become a reality. There will be compromises. There will be something which will shortfall of your expectation, and I think that should be okay. But yes, those 3 questions should always be asked before you join an organization or you decide to leave your existing one. One is the purpose. What's the reason behind your act? Why you want to do it? Whether you are, about to join a new organization or leaving the current one. Second is relevance, which is how well you fit in. As I think Frederick also mentioned, it's not only about the organization, what organization can do for you, but how well or how meaningful you can make your existence when you are with your current or the next company. And the third one I would say is opportunities. So employability versus employment, I mean, learning mindset is the need of the hour, is the need of the future, and is that getting enabled by the organization you are part of? Because if at all that remains intact, be it your current job or your future possibilities, you will be able to catch up. You will be able to make your existence meaningful in whichever form or wherever you exist. So these three things I think should be kept in mind: purpose, relevance, and opportunities. And if at all the answer to all these is yes and positive, you should not think twice before you make that shift or you join a new organization.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Singh. We're almost at a hard stop time, but I think we would have a few extra minutes to accommodate the questions that the audience has posted. Uh, Ashok Chopra, he asks that how can I, and I think, Frederick would be the best guy to take this. How can you explore your interests and find your Ikigai?
All right. So first and foremost, I'll share this with an example. Like I
Sure.
said, you need to find an overlap in 4 circles, right? So suppose you like cricket, right? You've understood that you like cricket. Now you got to understand your level of competence, how good you are, right? Are you good to make it to the Indian team? You may not be a great cricketer. You may have a lot of passion for cricket. Now let's try and understand what skills you have. Maybe you're a great communicator, right? You're passionate about cricket. You're a great communicator. What can you do? Right? You start exploring what the world needs. So of course you need Sachin playing there on the field, but you need someone who's going to direct the whole telecast. Someone who say you require someone who's a commentator. You may require someone who's a statistician. You may require someone in marketing who has that passion, who can see the game and understand, okay, now this guy is called for his gloves. I'm going to have 30 seconds. I can push in this ad, right? So people in production. So you got to understand where your skill set is, what you like, what is available, what the world needs and what the world is ready to pay for, right? And when you find that overlap, you will find your Ikigai. There's a battery of exercises, and if you could wait a few months more, in Jan when my book does come out, it's going to tell you step by step how to approach this.
Okay, great. The next question is from Fardeen Khan, and he asks that what is the scope of careers in international NGOs outside India? How to apply for it in this COVID-19 situation? Dr. Jesse, you want to address this?
Well, I think I am not an expert in applying for a job in NGO. What I can say is it is very important to, like all of us have been speaking repeatedly. First is, do I have a mindset to work in an NGO, right? Let's understand the basics. I need to have a lot of patience. I should be able to connect with people. I should be able to empathize with people. I should be able to understand their issues. If I have all this, then I should come to a reasonable conclusion that maybe I should try for a job in an NGO, right? I don't think it is directly right on my part to say I will apply for so and so NGO in this country. I'm just stepping back to ensure that I am having the required skills and the competencies to be there. Otherwise, it will end up like I just go there, I find that okay, this job is not what I was looking for, then again we come out, right? So specifically coming to the point, if I feel I have got all the required skill sets, I just need to look at the available opportunities. Maybe I can look at a few countries, or I can look at few global organizations, go into their website. I think it's all straightforward thing. Figure out where the jobs are available, where I can apply, what are they looking for, do I have the required skill set in terms of everything, Is it only related to a country specific thing? So the whole lot of things should go into preparing me as a prospective employee for that organization, whether it is an NGO or any other company, any company in the global market. Sitting in
Correct.
Bangalore, if I want to apply for a job in USA, great thinking process. But if I send my resume, will they consider me? So I need to understand what it requires for me to relocate from Bangalore to, let's say, Washington. So I think it is commonly applicable for any sector we are looking at.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just one more question from Fardeen only. I'm not too sure, but what is this inner circle concept and hidden job market? I'm not really sure of that, but any one of you would like to take the opportunity to answer that. Inner circle concept and hidden job market. Anybody sure of those?
Inner
Circle concept and hidden
Can I
job
answer
market.
that?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah, so typically, this is more like another jargon, I would say, right? Most of the senior positions in many companies are not advertised in the job portals or through consultants and all that. Typically, you try to reserve it. You want to recruit through your inner circle, your friends, your close network. Maybe you want to save the money or you want to keep the position very confidential. You don't want anyone to know about it. Maybe you are firing a person who's already there working in the organization in a particular role. If you advertise it, this person will come to know, then the person may think, oh, they are looking for a replacement. So you just want to keep it confidential. At the same time, you are trying to recruit through your inner circle. It could be a smaller set of executive search firms, or it could be your own internal organizational leadership, the people who are in the leadership positions who can refer their close friends so that you are able to close a position.
Okay, okay. Great. No more questions from the audience as of yet. We probably have to wrap it up. But before I do, I would like to, ask each one of you, probably take a minute or 30 seconds or something just to encapsulate what it takes, to win at career in life. I will start with you, Ankita, then go to Dr. Jesse, and then probably end with Frederick. Maybe just couple of points, yeah, just to wrap it up.
I think purpose, clarity, and relevance. I would say these three things, if it all combined together, people will be able to take care of everything, even the career choices.
Okay, great. Dr. Jesse, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I think we have spoken a lot about how to be successful in career. I just want to speak a few sentences about how to be successful in life in general. Try to learn your subjects practically. This is applicable for students. It's not about adding more degrees. It's about developing skills, right? Improve your skills, communication skills, leadership skills. Be in touch with industry professionals. Be happy with what you already have. The main problem we face today is people are always comparing with somebody else. I should exactly plan my career. Everybody has a different track. This is me. These are my skill sets. Let me figure out what I want to do 2 years from now and accordingly go in line. Don't compare with others. Instead, compare only with you. 3 years back, 5 years back. Frederick talked about a nice concept called learning cycle. Okay. On the same lines, I have personally found that every 4 to 5 years, you can start a new skill, and by end of the 5th year, you can be an expert in that skill. For example, I started my journey in Toastmasters International. I did my first speech in the Competent Communicator Manual. I had a plan to finish being certified as a distinguished Toastmasters exactly in 4 years' time, and I completed in 4 years' time. It took a lot of effort and time, right? I finished it. Then my next plan, I thought, let me now plan for a PhD. Okay, I finished my work in 5 years' time. Due to some delay in the university, finally it got completed officially in 6th year. So, like learning cycle, we need to keep it going, right? We need to keep looking, okay, because we are not in private sector. Nobody is going to stop working. I think we can work till we die, right? If we have the mindset, if we have the capability, if we have the energy. So, like Frederick talked about, are we employable? Are we making ourselves employable for future? If we can do that, I think that's the best way to look at career and life. And finally, we should be happy with what we have.
Yeah, I think the last sentence is very important. Frederick, your closing remarks.
I'm going to, since Ankita and Jesse have shared what you need to, I'm going to leave you with just one old adage. What you sow is what you reap. But I'm going to elaborate on it a little bit more. You see, first you got to plan to sow. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is planning alone won't do. You got to execute too. Okay. Rule number 3, you sow tomatoes, you're not going to get potatoes. Rule number 4, there's a gestation period. You sow a seed today, you don't get fruit tomorrow. You got to wait, right? All of us want to, you give me the fruit first, then I will sow, right? Number 5, you sow one fruit or you sow one seed, you don't get one fruit, you get manyfold, right? So this is how you need to approach your career. Don't think if I do this today, what I'm going to get tomorrow. Invest in yourself, have that goal in mind, and take it day by day, and be patient, right? And I'd like to leave it with that. So know where you want to go and just keep moving. Take a small step if you have to each day, but ensure you're moving, right? And moving in the right direction.
Correct.
That's all.
Wonderful. Thank you. We got to wrap it up now. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you, Dr. Jesse. Thank you, Dr. Singh, taking your time out to attend this session. It's been enthralling, it's been engrossing, and it's been pretty captivating, especially, all the relevant points that you guys, all of you made to, to win, to be successful at career, to be successful at life. I mean, there's no set formula. It's again upon individual people, but then there are certain common plans or certain methods that one probably needs to follow to attain that desired objective. Thank you once again for attending that, and have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Abhi.
Bye.
Bye.